What is up, everybody? Your boy Inori back again after the long break. Gonna be giving you some great League of Legends content. Jungle tier list patch 14.18. It's a bit late, but I'm gonna be doing it live with you guys here. But also, we're gonna be talking a lot about the upcoming patch, the big one that's gonna be coming up, and how it's gonna really impact the jungle role. So here we're going to be doing it live. So the categories S plus, S, A, B, C, and D. D is just going to be what our tier is going to be, where champs I really don't think are good to play. Even though they might just not be the most that popular, I just don't think they're good champions for you to play. S plus, obviously the ones that I personally think are the most broken. Also, we're going to have the law analytics here, which is going to be our resource to kind of look and kind of read and understand how stats are. So I'm going to teach you guys how we're going to read off of this stats page to really get a good grip situation. So for starters, S plus here, let's look at the stats page. What do we have? We have basically a champion meta where AP junglers got nerfed, and what we're left with is sort of these, tankier, beefier, but also just very OP junglers. Champions like Udyr. Udyr is hard to really, not put him at the S plus core category. Why is he so high win rate? As we talked about, what does Udyr build, right? He builds the Liandry's, but what's important about the Liandry's is the Oblivion Orb, right? They did not nerf this item, right? This component that goes into Liandry's is still broken, or sorry, not Oblivion Orb. Faded Ashes. It's been a while. It's still broken, and Udyr builds it perfectly into his build. And also, that's something about a Mumu too. They don't want to nerf Faded Ashes, and they're nerfing champions one by one, so Udyr is going to be giga broken next patch as well. The changes, Liandry's not getting nerfed. So Udyr is one of the most broken junglers in the game. Should you play Udyr? Definitely no. Udyr is a one-trick champion. If you haven't already been playing Udyr, picking him up, it's very unpleasant. You're not going to have a great time. And I would say he's not an easy pickup. Moving on, who do we have in the category? Kha'Zix, Viego. So first of all, I always put Kha'Zix high tier, even though, it's... People are like, well, isn't he like hard to play? He's like an assassin in a meta where assassins aren't that good. Important things to note is play rate, right? Pick rate is a very important thing when you look at stats. Pick rate reflects greatly on how you should look at a stat. You see here we have Rek'sai with a 1.6% pick rate. Yeah, we have a Kha'Zix with 11%. So 10 times more people play Kha'Zix than they do Rek'sai, which leads to a lot of more opportunities of newer players to play him and lose on him, which should lower their win rate by a lot. But Kha'Zix is not lowered at all. And also, Kha'Zix should not be winning at all. Assassins are bad right now, so why is Kha'Zix win rate so high? Well, because he's overtuned and he's very strong. And he just very well synergizes really well with, the play style you want to kind of have. Someone who can just kind of like farm and not really gank all that much, but also play for objectives, right? That's the playstyle you need to have right now in this meta, and Kha'Zix just forces you to do it because his ganks are garbage, right? So you're forced to play for objective with your Q evolution and all that kind of stuff. Future patch, Kha'Zix I don't think is going to be doing too well. Lethality in the future items are getting nerfed to the ground. I think assassins are going to get worse next patch unless they get buffs, so that's just a very big one. Next we have Viego. Viego, I just think they gave him like a buff for some reason. His clear speed, his damage is better. But you could make a case for S tier, but I think if a champion's player pick rate, like we talked about, is really high, then, it's always a big thing. And I actually want to put Jarvan in S plus category because I think Jarvan is very broken right now. And I think in the next patch, he may still be broken. But I'm going to put him in S category because he's still somewhat new to a lot of players. So I don't want people thinking Jarvan's that easy to play on. He's easy, not that hard, but he is much higher ELO skewed in a way that like people perform much better with him in higher ELO than lower ELO. Same thing with Viego. I think Viego is just better all around, generally, if you know how to play him. But Jarvan is definitely rising dramatically in the meta. And next we have Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai is very much high in the tier list or on the stats, but this is where pick rate reflects dramatically on how a champion is being viewed, right? Pick rate means this champion is being played ferociously by one tricks, including me. I'm dirty one trick. So the stats are just misrepresented. You cannot look at a low pick rate, a one trick jungler who Rek'Sai by far is one trick jungler, and be like, this is This means Rek'Sai is OP. It does not mean Rek'Sai is OP. It means she's okay, because if one tricks are able to win on her, then that's okay. But this, she is not. The less people who play a champion, the more you're going to see crazy random win rates. That's why pick rate is very important. You have to look at a stat. I don't consider anything below like 3% as really reliable pick rate. You need to have around 3% to really get a good idea of how a champion is. And I just think Rek'Sai is just ELO inflated because of her pick rate being so low. But moving on to the Demon Jester, let's go Shaco. I think Shaco's broken. I don't like him. And I also think he's S tier. People, whatever the people want to say about Shaco, he's hard to play, blah, blah, blah. Nope. He's broken. He's a Shaco. He's a clown. He should be caged up, locked up in prison, all that kind of stuff. I don't like Shaco. He's dirty. But he is S tier, and I think Shaco is very broken. And he's a very popular champ, even though he's a one-trick champion. That's a very big thing about Shaco. Future patches, I don't exactly know how he's going to shape. Damage is going down, so any champion that relies heavily on one-shotting, I don't think are going to benefit, because while tank items are getting buffed, every damage item is getting nerfed, so your burst is going to be lower. So if you relied on burst like Shaco as an AD form, it's going to hurt you a lot. Amumu, I think Amumu is S tier. I think next patch Amumu is going to be S+++ tier because of how broken he is. I love a little Amumu. The Sad Mummy is actually very good right now, and he's performing extremely well. I've been hyping him up for a while, and I think he's just in the perfect position to become the Sad King of the jungle next patch. And yeah, Liandry's not really getting huge nerfs for an item that's really broken. Faded Ash is also not getting nerfed. That benefits these two champions a lot. But I do expect nerfs for them in the next patch. But they will be broken next patch. I promise you that. Volibear I think is quite broken. I think next patch he's going to be even more broken. So I do want to put him in S tier. I think he is quite broken right now. Even though his stats aren't like crazy. Like he's over here at like, 3%, but 52%. I think he's very strong and solid. And I think he's a great champion to pick up. So I do foresee him in the future patches as being very beneficial of the changes to the tank items. Tank items getting buffed. Who does it benefit? Champs like Amumu, Udyr, Volibear. These champions benefit a lot from next patch. They will simply get stronger, which is a big change and a very broken one. Kayn. I have to find this little edgy boy somewhere in here. Yes, Kayn is A tier. You'll be like, okay, what about S tier? Shadow Kayn's going to be dead next patch. Red Kayn will be strong, though. I think Red Kayn will be a much stronger form next patch. But I don't know if he'll be S tier. The current patch we're talking about, he is strong, but I don't think he's S tier as well. His stats are pretty solid. He has good statistics, but in my opinion, I don't know how we'll see how he'll perform next patch. If more people play Red Kayn, that might be really good, but also Red Kayn does rely on damage items, so it might hurt him as well. Big changes there for that. Next, we're going to go into, some of the more one-trick junglers, champions like Warwick. Warwick, is he S tier? Oh, no. He's like an A tier pick because he does have inflated win rate because of he's a one-trick jungler. He's very one-trickable. He's very beneficial if you one-trick him. That's the thing, right? Like, just because you one-trick something doesn't mean you perform extremely higher than someone else on the curve, right? It's like, imagine someone who one-tricks Riven and then doesn't one-trick Riven, right? They dramatically climb the curve. But if someone one-tricks, something that's more carryoverable, like Jarvan, right? A lot of people can perform relatively well at Jarvan, so it doesn't spike as much as you would think. And that's an important thing. Warwick has really weird hidden mechanics that you have to know a lot of information about. That's what makes it, a bit inflated, but he's a very solid champion. I think he's very broken, low. He's a very stat check heavy champion next patch. Should benefit him because he does fall victim to burst damage and 80 carries being nerfed to the ground. Hallelujah. I have returned for the 80 carry items for being nerfed. And yes, I think Warwick will be a very solid pick. And I think it's really solid, good spot right now. Bel'Veth, again, a very heavy one-trick jungler, but I would put her A tier because I think she's good. I think she's solid if you one-trick her. I personally can never, for the life of me, find myself one-tricking her. I just can't enjoy her. That style, her abilities, her playstyle, it's just not for me. I don't enjoy it. I think some people really like it. If you do, that's good for you. I wouldn't say she's broken where it's like if you're one tricking her, you're really winning every game. Like before she was pretty broken. Now she's just a really good pick if you one trick her, and if you don't, she's pretty bad. But yeah, no, that's not a terrible position to be in at all for a champion like that. Next, we're going to be going through is the Hecarim. Hecarim, I would say, is performing quite well for a jungler that has to be, you know, like a heavy carry farm playstyle. And I do think he's very strong right now. I think he's benefiting a lot from the changes in the future patch. I think if burst damage goes down, it's beneficial for him. So we could see him, you know, really rising in the ranks because of that. Also, tanks being stronger might be negative for him, but we'll have to see how that all plays out. Lilia is someone who was very broken, and now she's just solid. I want to find where the deer is. Help me if you can. Where is the darling Lilia? There she is. So A tier, she got nerfed. Finally, they actually did sometimes I look at the balanced team and I look at the change they do and I say, like, how in the possible world did you cook up this change that does literally nothing? It doesn't change her win rate. It doesn't do anything. They made her passive damage monster cap late game go down. Like, what the hell? That does absolutely nothing. Do I care if a level 16 Lilia farms 2 seconds slower? That does not change or nerf that champion. She should have been hard nerfed the patch before. We wasted a whole patch for nothing. But she is nerfed into a position where she is just okay. She benefits if your champion, if your comp is full AD, she's a solid pick, but I wouldn't rate her as like a terribly broken champion right now. And someone who I think is going to be really strong, I just want to highlight, is Elise. I think Elise next patch is getting a lot of changes that I'm happy about. Also, we didn't really touch on AP item changes. So AP items in general, the two winners are Magic Pen champions and also Leandry's champions. If you build Shadowflame, like Sork Boots, Shadowflame next patch is going to be very broken. And I think that's the only way you're going to really see a lot of damage. Elise is also getting a lot of changes to make her more fluid. Her E flash combo is going to be back where she can press E and then flash to make the cocoon instantly go off instead of having to flash and then wait a bit then E. Big change that's really important for catching people. I think I'm going to spam a lot of Elise next patch because I think that's really fun and big changes, and that's just how, you know, I really see it. And obviously we're going to have to throw the girl, the toes, the legend, Briar into the mix here. Briar, very good, very strong, very solid. I want to see how she plays out next patch. I think damage going down, burst damage going down is actually quite good for her because, well, she builds, you know, Blade of the Rune King, Titanic, items like this. And she is a bit of a stat check heavy champion. So I think Briar the Toes is going to be doing very, very well next patch. Few champions, and let's see if I'm not missing anything for A tier. We have very, very, very good champions on this list. For example, let's look at Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao is performing very well. He did get slight buffs, which always benefits if you're getting buffed. Same thing with Nocturne. These two, I would say, are very well deserving of A tier. So big things I want to touch on. Lethal Tempo coming back. Nocturne, I could definitely see him rising up in the ranks with the new Lethal Tempo next patch. He's always been a great Lethal Tempo champion because you do auto pretty much all the time. That is all your damage. Xin Zhao, very solid. He's going to be a great pick. Very solid champion to pick up. And he's going to be doing really well into the next patch. Echo, I think, is B tier because, again, I think Echo is just a very... He's a very one tricky champion. He's very... You require a lot of games to kind of get the most out of him. And also, I just don't like him. I just don't like Echo. I don't like people who play Echo, and I just don't like playing against Echo, so we're just going to put him there. Diana is a very solid AP jungler that I think is just very strong. And in a very good position, so I think Diana well deserving of the A category. Next, we have Lee Sin. Lee Sin, how are the changes next patch going to affect Lee Sin? I don't think they're going to be great. He doesn't really build tank items. He does rely heavily on bursting people down, so we'll have to see how that all plays out. Overall, he's a very strong champion, though. High difficulty, which lowers his win rate a lot because people are kind of bad at him, right? So that does affect him a lot, but overall, he's a very solid pick. Same with Wukong. I think Wukong is a very solid pick right now. I think B tier suits him very well. He should be very happy with a B tier category, and I think he's ecstatic to be there, especially with all the nerfs he had to go through to get there. Nunu is a dirty little snowball champion who Statistically is relatively in a nice spot, but I just think he's a one-trick champion with a low win rate. He could even be C tier, but I'm going to put him B tier just because I know there's a lot of Nunu lovers out there that really ideally really love him. Gwen it could be pushing A tier, but I just don't know I don't know her future in the next patch because of a lot of changes to items that are going to affect her. She may be better next patch, but she's a solid B tier champion. If you like Gwen jungle, I think you would have a great time playing her. One weakness I think is big on her is she has no CC. She cannot engage fights. She cannot catch people. If your team has a lot of CC in your comp, then you're in a good position. You can AFK farm and do really well as Gwen. So that's just a very important matter to consider. And also Fiddlesticks. I don't really see too much of the Fiddle, but he's just a solid AP jungler. If you like AP junglers, then you're going to like him. Also Shyvana, she did get nerfed where she was literally broken. But I do think we will see more Shyvana next patch. It will benefit her to have a sort of hybrid build that may, improve a lot of her stats and stuff. Also, we have some changes to Kindred. Kindred did get some changes that, in my opinion, Kindred changes were pretty good. Didn't push her crazy. Like B tier is she's pretty happy about B tier. Next patch might benefit her because she's quite good at killing tanks. So I could see Kindred kind of coming back from where she was. One thing is, while we're looking here, Nidalee, do not play Nidalee, okay? Just stay away from her. D tier, disgusting. D is for disgusting. Do not play Nidalee. Do not even look at her. Do not hover Nidalee. We're going to quickly exterminate a lot of champions right now. Maokai jungle, D tier, do not play. Zyra jungle got nerfed, a D tier. Do not pick Zyra jungle. Next we have, did they destroy my girl Vi yet? Graves, C tier. He's okay. He's just not in a good meta. There might be benefits in the next patch where we're going to see some changes that will help Graves, but right now he's not in a good spot. Trundle, disgusting. We do not want to play Trundle. Talon jungle, surprisingly actually quite good. I think he's B tier. Very solid, very respectable position. Do not know how the future will hold for him because Profane Hydra, a lot of lethality being nerfed, may not be good for him. But for now, let's keep him in the B tier. Vi, pro play jailed, C tier. She cannot be good because of pro play. Her R button is just too broken, unfortunately. So that's where we see her. Rengar is going to be in a shelter next patch because he's going to be abandoned by Riot Games because how much lethality items are getting nerfed. His role as an assassin will be over. Personally, I think they need to just rework Rengar into more of a bruiser / flexible champion. He shouldn't just be about one-shotting. I think that would be much better and healthier for him. Darius jungle is honestly not that bad. I could see him being better next patch. C tier is very respectable, very good. D tier Sejuani, pig is haram. We do not eat. She's not halal. Haram, oink, do not touch pig. Rumble got nerfed pretty hard because of pro play. So Rumble's not really in a good position at all. So we're gonna want to stay away from that. Also, Ivern as well getting nerfed because of pro play. C tier. Unfortunate circumstance, but he's gonna have to go C tier. Karthus, same thing for being broken. He unfortunately got the short end of a lot of sticks because of pro play as well, so we're gonna have to put him C tier. Silas jungle, honestly, if they just made his clear a bit healthier and faster, he literally would be like an S tier jungler, and I would love to see that happen. But right now, his clear is just uncompetitive with a lot of junglers that he struggles with, which is just unfortunate. Skarner is like a C/B tier, C tier because I don't like him. Also, his brother Skarner, we're gonna have to get rid of that one. Disgusting champion. I mean, they really failed on the rework, and I'm just not happy about that. Mordekaiser, not really that playable anymore. Nefari jungle, still okay, playable. C tier, I don't know how the future will hold for her, but it's not looking incredible as well. Next, we have Gragas, D tier, disgusting. big boy's been drinking too much alcohol. He needs to slow it down. Rammus is a solid C tier champion. Thornmail changes next patch might hurt him, but we'll have to see how that all plays out. Jack's jungle, honestly, will be really good next patch too. Benefits a lot from a lot of changes. He is a solid B tier champion. Zac, we didn't really go over Zac. Zac is... He's a B tier champion. He could be A tier as well. I would not be upset at all to have Zac as an A tier. He's a very solid tank champion that I think next patch we'll see some great changes coming from him. The big man. Olaf isn't really a jungler anymore. He's more of a top laner, so we're going to throw him in D tier. Bran, unfortunately, got gutted because he was too good as a jungler, so they were backtracking on a lot of these AP junglers being junglers. So they kind of got rid of that potential that Bran once had. And I would have to say that Master Yi is C tier. C tier, I mean, let's look at the stats first. Let's just read it. I honestly haven't seen much from Yi. He's honestly a solid B tier champion. You definitely could fit him into the B tier category. I would not hate to see him here. He's definitely a solid one for sure. Zac being part of that B tier category, really good as well. Pantheon jungle, he's really weird. Honestly, I don't think you should be playing him that much. He's just a very strange one. Evelyn as well, she's pretty much a solid B tier, so I would put her in the B tier category. And the rest of these champions, pretty irrelevant, so I'm not going to include them. But pretty much this will be my patch 14.18 jungle tier list. Next patch, we're going to go really into detail about what we think will be very broken. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of do a different style and update you guys that I'll be back to uploading videos. So patch 14.18 jungle tier list. Good luck on your games. Good luck on your climbs. It's going to be the end of the video. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next videos. Good luck on your games.